And Byron Dinkins out for perhaps a week. He got a deep thigh bruise in practice on Thursday, and he's not in uniform. Matchups: Elliott, Bird, Cummings, probably against McHale for most of the game. Robinson and Parrish. And as you see in the backcourt, new faces for Boston. In particular, that of Brian Shaw running the show after a year in Italy. And Parrish quick jumping David on the opening tap. Mathis blowing a quick whistle, and they'll do it again.
Well, when you're 37, you can get away with that, can't you?
Well, when you're 37, you should know how to do that more subtly.
Oh, yeah.
And this time they let it go, and the Spurs get it. Robinson overthrowing Cummings, and it's out of bounds to Boston.
They're tight because they recognize that they're the two of the better teams in the league, or the fact that the crowd hadn't really warmed the building. It's a little cold in here.
Well, leave it to Larry Bird appropriately to hit the first bucket of the game after a minute 40 seconds. Robinson turns on Parrish for the reverse. Count it. In shorter bursts, hoping that he can play harder while he's out there. Brian Shaw knocks it down from the high post area tonight. A little more floor leadership out of Rod Strickland. Not a real vocal guy by nature. Cummings on the run, ties it at 4. DC on the pull-up, can't crawl it in. Reggie Lewis, outlet to Shaw. Strickland was waiting for him, and he blows right past Rocket Rod, all the way in.
Well, you can see that these young Celtics don't sit around. To get into half court, they can go into these experienced players and get off good shots.
No question, the slowest team in the league the last few years. Can't say that anymore. Boy, a tough one, and it falls for Sean Elliott. Big traffic, and he muscled it in. Bird with the isolation jumper. And already he's matched his field goal.
He sat out 8 minutes in the second half, and the Celtic team increased the lead.
Robinson, quick turn. Parrish at age 37, really with his hands full when David moves as definitively and aggressively as he did that time.
Both those moves were something we haven't seen in the last few games.
Willie went for the breakaway steal and almost forced Gamble to fumble it out of bounds. Gamble, former journeyman out of Iowa, through traffic, and he's got his first 2. Himself as a starter for the Boston Celtics. Up fake, Parrish bit every bit of it, and David unable to convert. But he'll file that away, no doubt try it again, as Lewis hits on the pull-up, and Boston with a 4-point lead. The rocket from outside. As cold as they were the first couple of minutes, that's how hot both teams are now.
Well, all three of these Celtic backcourt people, Shaw, Reggie Lewis, and Gamble, can beat you off the dribble. Makes it
often to Robinson. That time Parrish held him off. And the battle inside won by Lewis, 4-year pro out of Northeastern. Bird, quick feed. Gamble, easy 2. Boston with the quick ball on the scoreboard, a 6-point Celtic advantage. Spurs work it. Isolate Cummings on Bird. Hands it over. Robinson all too open that time. Don't remember any of that easy in the Atlanta game. Lewis held off by Cummings. A foot race, 3-on-1. Elliott passed Brian Shaw, who fouled it.
Well, that's creating the offense off the defense.
5 straight for the Spurs to close within 1. Greenwood draws the Parrish assignment. And the Chief turns on him in the low post. Youngest looking 37-year-old I've seen in a while.
Very creative footwork from Robert Parrish that time, but that's a tough matchup for David Greenwood because Robert Parrish can shoot it over the top of just about everybody.
Oh, here's the quick hands. Kevin Gamble stripping Terry Cummings, and TC has to foul him hard. They've led by as many as 6. Strickland. And Bird with great position. Still can't jump. Averages 9.5 boards per game. Larry Bird does. It wouldn't crawl in for Lewis. It's tapped in by Parrish with 6. An 8-time All-Star from Centenary. Bird with the overplay, and Greenwood trying to make him pay. And now, Kobe, you're seeing the Spurs take some very ill-advised one-on-one shots. Nice save, however, by Elliott, and Robinson with his 8th point.
Very well, and if you're going to the offensive boards, they really like to beat you down the other end of the court if they can get the ball.
Outside shot for Bird. Reggie Williams and Willie Anderson in. Again, a different substitution pattern for the Spurs. Elliott and Strickland out. Robinson turns on Parrish. Greenwood, a nice decision that time to hammer it back out. And an all-alone Pressey for 3.
Left the building in Houston. Boston played last night in Dallas and played very well, and they've come out and started off this first quarter just like they played last night.
Hook falls, and the Admiral already to double figures.
Really quick moves by David Robinson tonight. He really looks good.
Pressey against Bird, who throws it in the general direction of the cutter, and the Spurs. They had to reset the shot clock at 14. Nimble-footed Parrish to keep that ball in bounds, and Reggie Lewis from about 18.
Kind of kick you need to set if you can get away with it.
Boston going to the Bird height advantage of about 4 inches over Pressey. And underneath to the left-hand flip by Brian Shaw. Vintage Boston ball movement. And again, they lead by 6. Anderson good, up fake around Lewis. First 2 for Willie.
They double down on people. And they've got the kind of big people inside that can switch and still be effective on whoever they guard.
Nice, tough driving 2, Reggie Williams. And they get within 2, and that's a block on Reggie. That time, as they went off the Celtics, it did not, according to Mayfield. And here's McHale. Ugly looking shot, but it doesn't matter how it looked. And Bird in time for 3. Can't get it to fall. We come to the end of the first quarter. And a hot shooting Boston team at 67% from the field, on top 34-28 at the end of 1.
Kind of a play.
And again, they try to pick and roll and get Pressey on McHale. Couldn't do it, but McHale hits over the Admiral. One way or another, he'll find a way to beat you.
Those two.
Reggie Lewis, Williams' high school teammate at Baltimore, Dunbar, and the other Reggie pulls it down. Willie Anderson for the pull-up 2. Tough one with McHale right in the championship rings as players and coaches. In Ford's case, as an assistant coach. And Bird knocks down another one. Turnovers, and that's one problem they did solve on Wednesday. They only coughed it up 11 times. Good screen, Robinson, with a pick and roll from Cummings. Well, 2 can play. Line turning on Cummings. Anderson, as the Spurs run, almost walked with it. Cummings knocks it down. Spurs need him to get hot. That's 4 for TC. They come within 3 with a 5-point run. That's a mistake. Bird wide open. They get away with it. And who knows, maybe a chance to tie. Back to the bucket. The Admiral brings them within 1. Timeout, Boston. Spurs have been waiting for a run like this, and it's finally come. 7 unanswered points. When in trouble, the Celtics go to Bird. And he comes up empty. Anderson. Robinson, after the block by McHale, and Rocket Rod barely draws iron. Robert Parrish back in for Boston. And it's D. Brown with a wild miss, followed in by Gamble. 7 for Kevin Gamble. It's a big follow by Gamble, because that shot by Brown leads you to think Boston's losing a little poise. And Robinson with a wild feet. A lot of turnovers. They force about 14 per game this year. That's one of the lower totals in the NBA. Gamble, the open man. They find him. Anderson stripped by Bird. 4-on-1. And the Chief running up and down the floor. Period of streak. Spurs had 7 straight. Boston now 6 straight. At the 6.5-minute mark, Rod Strickland very cold. Terry Cummings working hard for his 6th point.
Everybody has got to understand what their job is on defense. You know, the shots will come and go, but the basic things are what separate the good teams from everybody else.
And with all the problems, still a 5-point Boston lead. That's all. Well, now 7. And that's 10 for Parrish.
To stay really sharp. It's hard to do it in practice. They were flat against Atlanta. It's just all these little details that are difficult to keep together if you're just going to practice every day.
Big half by Kevin Gamble continues. He averages 12 points per game. He's already got 11, and it's 49-41. Boston has matched their biggest lead of the game. As we wind down on the first half. Robinson outside over Parrish, and McHale with great position on Reggie Williams for the board. Lewis, the pull-up jumper. First double-digit lead. Willie Anderson momentarily wide open. Then he hits the tough shot on the run.
That looked like a pretty good foul there.
That's one where it shouldn't have been that tough to blow the whistle. And again, Gamble is the Celtic who makes him pay. For 5 right now, it's a 10-point game. They can breathe a little easier after the miss by McHale. Too hard by Robinson, much too much. Shaw past Greenwood and count it. What a backhander by Brian Shaw. Turnovers are even, but points off turnovers, the big edge for the Celtics. And Williams with his second miss from three-point land. Robinson playing free safety that time. And Strickland all the way. Cannot get one to fall tonight. Parrish never left that end of the floor. Boston by 11. 16 seconds. A Boston team that has not lost in this building since January 5th, 1980. Again dominating in the first half tonight. Parrish rejects Robinson. Bird takes a tumble and nothing called. No foul, no traveling, nothing. And we come to the end of the first half. Cross words for Bird in the direction of Jack Nees. And a very impressive first half by Boston. Spurs have their work cut out. It's 58-47 at Hemisphere Arena at halftime. Underway quarter number 3 here. Boston 58, Spurs 47. Terry Cummings finally back in. Missed most of the second quarter after he picked up his 3rd foul. Kevin Gamble goes. Reggie Lewis and Strickland will chase down the board. The Rocket only 1 of 9 from the field in the first half. 2 points, 3 assists. They need more from it. Would have been the 20th for Robinson. Stolen, Terry Cummings, and Robinson will get 20.
Anderson was that guy last year, but hasn't really come to the front. But somebody's going to have to step up there and start making plays if they're going to stay in this game.
And it really needs to start on this end, on the defensive side. Robert Parrish, 7 of 10, 14 points. Maybe Manute Bol could block it. I don't know anyone else who could. Strickland, maybe a good omen.
Well, every time the Celtics collapse like that, they're going to give up open jump shots. If you can move the ball to the right people, you got to step up there and make those shots.
Brian Shaw, ill-advised pass, and they still end up working it to Larry Bird. Now Parrish for the hook. And they look even younger when they have all the young legs who can do all the running. They get to rest at half court and let people like Lewis and Shaw finish fast breaks. Robinson, count it. And Boston, after trailing early by 15, 1 here going away. Spurs Spurs try to reverse that trend. Anderson on the run. To tap it. But the crowd, you're right back in the game. Bird again can't quiet the sold-out house, which was really taken out of the game most of the second period. Left-handed. Larry Bird, one of the few players with as much confidence in his wrong hand as in his good hand.
Well, that was one heck of a play right there.
That is the product of endless hours of the offseason. Offensive board, Elliott. They reset. Anderson fakes three. Nice screen set by Robinson, and Willie, a move from his playbook the last couple of years, starting to look like himself here, which is a welcome sight for the Spurs. Lead is 8. Shaw makes it 10. 15 for Brian Shaw. Boston by 10. 6:55 of the third quarter. Well, with those two out, it's got to be this man heating up. And so far, Willie's doing just that. Nobody down quicker than Brian Shaw at the other end. Now, that's something.
End-to-end ability like that, and you can't not pay attention to him.
Strickland. Now 3 of 10 from the field. 70-62. After the Celtics, we're up by 13. Bird with a fall away. A cold third period for Larry Bird. Strickland, nice dish. Elliott to finish. Timeout, Boston. Stop and go move, and Rod Strickland has regained his game. Add another to the list of walking wounded. Gamble stuffed by Reggie Williams. Great catch. Anderson all the way.
Great outlet pass by Reggie Williams down the sideline here.
This is the run the Spurs have been looking for, and here comes Strickland after the steal.
McHale gets the ball in the low post like that. He's real vulnerable, so he's overplaying, doing a good job.
In the low post was Greenwood. Somehow he got it to go. Gamble through the double team. Robinson, another block. 12 seconds. As Strickland slows it down, and he'll spread the attack.
You can see Sean Elliott that night pointing out the fact that they were going for a last-second shot.
And it turned into a missed three by Reggie Williams, but the Spurs on fire in the third quarter after trailing by as many as 13 points. They'll go to the fourth with a lead, 75-74 Spurs. Shaw against Cummings, Robinson, Williams, Strickland, and Elliott as the fourth quarter unfolds, and Strickland with a backhand drive.
Larry Brown called that out of the quarter break and just cleared the side for Rod Strickland to beat.
Into the low post where Cummings guards Robert Parrish about as well as anybody has tonight. Nothing seems to matter. The Chief is 9 for 12, 18 points. Into the low post where Cummings guards Robert Parrish about as well as anybody has tonight. Nothing seems to matter. The Chief is 9 for 12, 18 points.
Well, in defense, I don't think Terry Cummings guards Robert Parrish all that much, but you can't let him just turn on his own and shoot that jump shot. You've got to bump him and make him move the way you want him to move.
Elliott, breakneck drive. They are absolutely fearless, challenging that front line of Boston. More effective in the half-court game in the third quarter. Found the open man with regularity. 5 to shoot. Elliott with a sore thumb. Can't get the roll. Robinson with the follow jam. Mercy. 25 for David. Basically been a six-man show for Boston. Gamble spotted by Larry Bird. Vintage pass by Bird, and Gamble. But maybe not so quiet in the fourth quarter. 21 for Shaw now.
It's interesting what you saw.
Gamble, one pass too many, and Anderson picks it up. Runner over Bird. It was taking him about 1 minute to get a whistle against him. And you know where Boston's going to go when they get the ball. They go to whoever Terry guards. Another one. Willie with a season high. The Spurs absolutely had to have this type play from Willie Anderson, and they've gotten it. McHale, vintage move in the low post, but not a vintage night. He's only got 9 points. Come on. Robinson forced out by Klein. Post up move. Rod Strickland wisely back out. Elliott will chase it down. 8 to shoot. 5 to shoot. Anderson for 3.
They've really got it going right now, and it's a perfect time for the Spurs.
Larry Brown hollering from the bench as if they could hear him. Don't foul. Whatever happens, he does not want to foul, and that's what happens. You give McHale an inch, that's all he needs. 90 to 87.
Sean's doing a pretty good job on him, staying in front of him.
Bird stayed in front of Sean that time. Reggie Lewis to Brian Shaw. 23 for Shaw. 3 minutes to go. 3 minutes between a 92-90 lead and a possible streak-ending victory by the Spurs. Their first here over Boston since January of '80. The last time it happened. Cummings got away with one. Strickland, big traffic. Tap in, Sean Elliott. That might be the bucket of the game. Look for all the world like a Boston stop. Instead, they trail by 4. Well, make it 2. First time we've called Lewis's name in the second half. 8 for the game.
Really fine baseline shot over Terry Cummings by Reggie Lewis.
Now the Spurs offense starting to slow to a crawl. Not a lot of movement. Anderson, a tough shot with McHale in his face. Minute mark we go, and the Celtics go to Bird. Still can't get it. He's 5 of 16. Anderson, a flying slam dunk.
Strickland to Willie, who just won't be denied. So outrageous dunk by Willie. That kind of emphasis really gives confidence to his teammates. He's carrying the load tonight.
Jordan couldn't have done it better. Here we go. Look for Boston to think about three-pointers, and that's not part of their arsenal this year. Not here, though. They go to Lewis, 98-94. And lots of time remaining. Rod Strickland with an opening. Back to a 6-point game. And McHale turns it over in the low post. A minute 10 remaining. Boston to the pressure on the perimeter. Terry Cummings knocked back out to Anderson, and the Spurs can melt it under a minute. 57 seconds left in the Boston streak if they hang on. Cummings, pass McHale. No, but a foul. McHale's fifth. Unusually low numbers for Cummings. Out of his rhythm from the start because of early foul trouble, and he's never been out of it. 101-94. Boston with 10 total three-pointers this year coming into tonight. 21% as a team. Here's a three by Lewis, and it won't fall. Parrish can't get it either. Strickland with 29 seconds. And Robinson loses it. Here's Brian Shaw. Larry Bird blocked by Robinson and out of bounds off Kevin McHale. And barring a miracle, this one belongs to the Spurs. Everybody will get a feel of what it's like to beat the Boston Celtics here. As Willie Anderson.
You got to hand it to Willie Anderson tonight. He was the guy that just led this charge on both offense and defense.
Yeah, this charge came from two guys who had really struggled in the first half, Willie and Rod Strickland. No way the Spurs win this game without those two. Lewis passes up the three, 4 seconds remaining. 102-96 will be the final, and after 11 straight Boston wins in this building, that streak is history.
102-96. Remember, everybody with the Spurs ticket stop from tonight's game wins a big match.
Gotta be one of the memorable regular season wins in the history of the San Antonio Spurs. Chris Ford experiences defeat for only the fourth time as head coach. Boston falls to 15-4. Our final tonight, the Spurs 102, Boston 96, and we